Have you noticed something strange? The closer some people get to spirituality, the more artificial they start to feel. Their words become polished. Every sentence sounds profound. Everything becomes energy, alignment, higher consciousness. But underneath it, there's still strain. Still someone carefully managing how they come across. And that might be the final trap before awakening. Because there's a stage on the spiritual path almost nobody recognizes while they're inside it. Not because it's rare, but because it feels incredibly convincing. At first, spirituality opens your eyes. You begin questioning things you once accepted automatically. You become more aware of your thoughts, reactions, emotional habits. And honestly, that stage can feel deeply liberating. But eventually, something subtle begins happening beneath the surface. The mind learns how to survive inside spirituality itself, not by resisting it, but by reshaping itself around it. And this is where many people unknowingly get stuck. The spiritual mask. A material-driven mind is usually obvious. It wants status, recognition, attention, control. But the spiritual version is much harder to detect because it hides behind wisdom. It whispers things like, "I'm more conscious than most people. I've moved beyond negativity. I operate on a higher level now." And the unsettling part is, it can sound completely believable. But genuine awakening doesn't make someone feel elevated above others. If anything, it softens the constant need to position yourself at all. There's less proving, less signaling, less subtle hunger to be perceived a certain way, because truth doesn't need decoration. Yet this is exactly where many people drift off course. Spirituality slowly becomes another thing to maintain. You start watching yourself constantly. Am I peaceful enough, aware enough, detached enough, evolved enough? And without realizing it, inner growth quietly turns into self-surveillance. That's exhausting. When spirituality becomes heavy, some people actually become more tense after entering spirituality than they were before. Because now there's pressure. Pressure to appear calm, pressure to sound wise, pressure to always seem centered. So they suppress anger, hide confusion, pretend they're at peace while chaos quietly builds underneath. And over time, they stop relating to themselves honestly. This is one of the biggest misunderstandings about awakening. Awakening does not erase your humanity. You still feel grief. You still experience uncertainty. There are still moments of frustration, sadness, even fear. But those experiences stop dominating the center of your life. They move through you more naturally. The problem is that many people never truly let go of old psychological patterns. They simply repaint them with spiritual language. And this can continue for years unnoticed, because externally everything looks spiritual. Meditation, books, mindfulness, deep conversations, endless discussions about consciousness. But internally, there's still a constant reaching, still the feeling that fulfillment exists somewhere ahead. The final trap. And this is the final trap, treating awakening like a personal achievement. Because the moment the mind says, "I've arrived, I finally became awakened, I'm spiritually advanced," it quietly creates another illusion to protect. Real awakening is far less dramatic than people imagine. It's not becoming emotionally untouchable. It's not about moving through life in a permanent state of euphoria. And it's not transcending every human reaction. If anything, it's the collapse of unnecessary psychological noise, the end of constantly adjusting, censoring, or reshaping yourself in an effort to appear better, more acceptable, or more in control. And ironically, what blocks many people from deeper awareness isn't negativity. It's the effort to appear deeply aware, because that effort creates tension. Now there's a version of yourself to uphold, a certain image to preserve, a fear of looking reactive, imperfect, or ordinary. But truth has nothing to defend. It doesn't need admiration. It doesn't need labels. It doesn't even need to announce itself. What real awareness feels like. Some of the most deeply aware people you'll ever meet may not seem spiritual at all. They don't constantly speak in mystical language. They don't try to sound profound. And they don't need others to recognize how conscious they are. There's just a calm, centered presence to them, a simplicity, a lack of inner friction. Because as awareness deepens, it tends to become quieter, calmer, and less concerned with being noticed. So if your spiritual journey has started feeling heavy, forced, or strangely artificial, you may not be failing. You may simply be standing near the final illusion. The illusion that spiritual awakening turns you into someone special, when it may actually free you from the need to be anyone special at all. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing to Mystic Reflections for more videos exploring consciousness, awakening, inner transformation, and the deeper truths most people overlook. And remember, real truth often arrives quietly when the endless effort to attain peace finally falls away.